Peace. When I was young and I first started dating girls and stuff like that, my old earth, she used to always tell me, you need to study their family dynamics. And I think I mentioned on a couple different occasions that, my old earth, she was a trained psychologist and sociologist. So I grew up in a household where phrases and terms like that was just normal conversation. It didn't mean that I understood it, but, I remember being like knowledge, wisdom of 12 years old looking through the DSM manual, which is his Diagnostic Statistical Manual of Mental Illnesses, because that's something that we had in the house. So anyway, my old earth, she used to say, study their family dynamics. You need to study their family dynamics. I didn't know what that meant, but it took me time and a lot of experience to begin to actually understand what she meant by that. Now, family dynamics, when we talk about dynamic simply means force or influence. So when we say family dynamics, we're talking about the family influence upon an individual. And what people don't understand a lot of times is that the family who we are born with, whether we're a single child, whether we've been adopted, regardless of what those circumstances are, the people who are around us that have raised us, they represent our first training unit in life when it comes to family relationships, or when it comes to being able to navigate different type of emotional experiences. Our family first introduces us to fear. We learn about happiness. We learn about disappointment. We learn about sorrow. We learn about joy. We learn about all of these different experiences through the family we were born with. And because it is our first training unit, this is where we learn our first skill sets when it comes to establishing or resolving or bringing closure to, or also dissolving relationships. So once we leave the household, if we ever do, once we leave the household, we bring these skill sets with us into other different arenas of our life. And when my old earth used to say study their family dynamics, what she was essentially talking about is check out the influences that have shaped and molded this person into that image and likeness that they're in. Because they're going to bring those actual skill sets to a relationship that you want to possibly forge with them. So in other words, sometimes you see people and they may have disagreements or things that they don't like about their own physical family. All of us have that. And just because we do have a physical family, it doesn't mean that we have to accept everything that our physical family does. But what it does mean is that if we were born into this family and we were presented with these actual challenges, that it is important for us to strive to learn how to resolve those challenges with our physical family, because when we look at people and we say, oh, that's how they are, right? Or we say that's how their personality is. Personality is nothing more than a combination of principles and values. So in other words, when you look at a person, that is just simply a unique combination of principles and values. That does not mean that we're not going to meet other person in our life journey that have the same type of principles, that have the same type of values. So if I'm unable to bring closure to or resolve the things that I have with my own physical family members that have personality or principles or values that is disagreeable with the way that I see and do things, what makes me think that I'm going to have the skills to be able to handle that situation with somebody outside of my family that's not going to be connected to me for the rest of my life, who can simply walk away anytime they please? So if I could easily just walk away from being able to handle situations that I'm dealing with in my own physical family, it's going to be way easier for me to walk away from dealing with the same type of personality with people who are outside of my family. I'm easily going to be able to walk away from that because there's nothing that's connecting us. So when you're looking at a person, always find out how they're able to handle and deal with the different type of dysfunctions or the different type of challenges they have in their own physical family, because if they haven't developed the type of skill sets to deal with those things with their own physical family, what makes you think that they have those skill sets to be able to bring it to a new family that they're forming with you possibly? Where are they going to get those skills from? Where are they going to get the tolerance? Where are they going to get the understanding? Where are they going to get all of those things that is necessary to be able to bring closure to and to resolve those type of situations if and when they come up in your relationship? They're not going to have them. So, like I said, my older earth put me onto this when I was at a very young age, and I didn't even know how to spell dynamic. But this is something that I'm also taking initiative to share with some of you. Number one, it's very important to see how people deal with their own family issues. Because if they're unable and they lack the tolerance and the skills to deal with those family issues that they were born into, then they won't have the skills to be able to handle those same issues that will come up in other people. Because like I said, it's not that when you look at a person and you say that's how their personality is and that's just how they are, that they're never going to meet another person in their life that may have the same type of principles and values. Yeah, the faces change, but the principles and the values often remain the same. And if you have no tolerance for dealing with it in your own family and being able to bring closure to it, you're not going to have the skills and the tolerance to bring closure to that with somebody who's outside of the family. So that's very, very important to check out how a person is able to handle and deal with and navigate the type of things that are disagreeable with them with the family that they were born into, because, like I said, that represents their first training unit. And if they're not mastering or having the ability to deal with those things on this level, what makes you think they're going to step up and be able to deal with those things on the next level with the same type of issues when somebody's bringing it to the table that they're not necessarily going to be connected to for the rest of their life, whether they call them a husband, wife, or whatever? You can easily walk away from that if you're easily able to walk away from it with your own physical family. So that's very, very important, because just because a person steps off from a physical family and they say they don't deal with that person no more, they don't talk to this person, this, that, and the third, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are not still under the influence of that upbringing and those social circumstances. Because like I said, you can say you're going to step off from family. You can say you're not talking to this person for the rest of your life, but since you were born into it, they're going to be family for the rest of your life, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. And because you come from the same gene pool, or you might have been raised in a circumstance where you share the same social economic gene pool, meaning you might have been adopted, you may have been raised over here, this, that, and the third, there are still things that are common to that environment that you were shaped and molded in. So it doesn't matter if you go and move over to Alaska or if you're over here in Atlanta, you're still bringing along with you those influences that shape the dynamic, that the family that you were in. So it's very, very important to check that out. Very, very important to check that out, because people will bring that with them to the relationship that you want to potentially start with them. So just wanted to share that. Hope it was helpful. And keep in mind, always study family dynamics. Not only your own is where it starts, but also that of a potential companion or friend or associate or whatever, because they're going to bring that along with them. Peace.